They said she heard the truth before the wine even settled in her glass. Hidden behind the half-open door of her honeymoon suite, Maya Okoro listened, frozen, as the man she just married whispered to another woman. "She gave me the vault code," Dante said, laughing softly. "She thinks it's sacred." The woman's voice was sharp, amused. "But by tomorrow, we'll be gone, and she'll be broke enough to vanish quietly." For a long second, Maya couldn't breathe. The laughter felt louder than the crashing waves outside. The wedding gown clung to her like a curse. And as her heart broke, her mind began to build something colder. A plan. But before that night, before the betrayal, there was love. Or something that wore love's perfume. Maya Okoro wasn't just a woman, she was a name stitched on luxury itself. Maya Lux, the brand that dressed presidents' wives, pop stars, and the kind of people who never checked price tags. Her life shimmered in the magazines, the mansion in Camps Bay, the red carpet smiles, the interviews where she said things like, "Hard work pays off." But when the cameras stopped flashing, silence was her only company. That was the day she met him. It was a Tuesday, soft sunlight, soft lies. Maya was in a luxury mall, signing autographs near a jewelry store, when a man bumped into her, spilling coffee all over her silk blouse. He looked mortified. "God, I'm so sorry," he said, grabbing tissues. "I wasn't looking. I'm such an idiot." Normally, she would have snapped, assistants would handle it. But something in his tone, that calm panic, disarmed her. He was tall, caramel-skinned, handsome in that quiet, dangerous way. "I can pay for dry cleaning." She cut him off with a small laugh. "Don't worry. I own a clothing line. I've survived worse disasters." He grinned. "Then maybe I owe you dinner. As an apology, not a date." That was how Dante Lewis entered her story, the tech consultant, with charm that felt safe. He talked about code, startups, and broken dreams. Nothing flashy. Nothing suspicious. It was almost refreshing. By the end of that week, they were texting every night. By the end of that month, he'd become the calm in her storm. He never asked for money, never bragged. Just listened. Made her laugh. Held her hand in public, unbothered by the whispers that came with her fame. And for a woman who had built her life on being untouchable, that kind of attention felt like air. Dante wasn't who he said he was. Miles away, in a small Airbnb they used as home base, his real wife, Zara, watched the footage he secretly recorded during their dates. Maya's smile, her routine, the access. "Good," Zara said, her tone flat as she traced Maya's image on the screen. "She's lonely. That's the weakness. Don't rush it. Make her trust you." Dante nodded, removing his shirt as he collapsed beside her. "She already does. She thinks I'm struggling." Zara smirked. "Keep it that way. The richer they are, the more they crave struggle, makes them feel human." That was their business. Love scams, high-class heists dressed in romance. Maya wasn't the first, but she was about to be their biggest score yet. By month 3, Maya had fallen. Completely. She brought Dante into her world. Charity dinners, red carpets, and secret nights at her beach house. He blended in too perfectly, a man who didn't chase fame but seemed built for it. When she told her best friend Chica about him, the woman frowned. "Something about this guy doesn't sit right," Chica said. "He's too calculated. Like he rehearsed how to make you fall." Maya laughed it off. "You're just paranoid. Not every man's a villain." But Chica wasn't wrong. Dante had been trained by the best. His wife. One rainy evening, Dante showed up at Maya's house drenched and shaking. "Zara," he said, voice trembling. "My ex. She found me. Said she'll ruin everything." Maya's heart clenched. She held him, comforting him, never realizing she was embracing the lie itself. That night she gave him the vault code. "Just in case," she whispered. "If anything happens to me." And that was all he needed. When Maya found out she was pregnant, it changed everything. She told Dante over dinner, voice trembling between fear and joy. He smiled. "Too fast, too tight." "Wow. That's amazing." But that night, he didn't sleep. He stared at the ceiling beside Zara, his chest heavy. "We didn't plan for this," he muttered. Zara's reply was cold. Then make sure it doesn't become a problem. 2 weeks later, Maya lost the baby. The doctor said stress. She didn't know that the stress had a name. Still, she forgave him. Because love makes fools of the strong. The wedding was small, private, just family, close friends, and a smile that no longer reached her eyes. Chica tried to stop it. You don't have to do this, she whispered before the ceremony. If he loves you, time will prove it. Don't rush. But Maya only said, maybe this is my last chance. And so she said, I do. That night, on the balcony of her luxury suite, the ocean sang and candles flickered. Dante's hands were warm around her waist as he whispered, I'll never hurt you. Minutes later, behind the door, Maya heard the truth. The lie she had built her future on was laughing with another woman. They said she didn't scream, didn't cry. She just stood there, watching the pieces of her heart rearrange into something sharper. And when the morning came, she smiled, not because she forgave him, but because she'd already decided how the story would end. Maya Okoro wasn't done. They said the strongest revenge is silence. And for the next few weeks, Maya Okoro mastered it. Every morning, she woke beside Dante, the man who had just buried her trust, and smiled like nothing was broken. He kissed her cheek, called her, my queen, and she played along. If love had been a costume before, now it was her armor. Behind the soft laughter and honeymoon pictures, she was planning. The world saw a glowing bride. Dante saw a docile wife. Only Maya knew she was neither. Zara called once, late at night. Maya was in the living room, pretending to sleep on the couch, when she heard the phone buzz. Dante slipped out of bed to answer. Everything's almost ready, he whispered. Vault, assets, all of it. Just a few more days. Then silence. A soft chuckle from him. Yeah. She's completely gone for me. He turned back toward the bedroom, unaware that Maya's eyes were open, calm, and cold. The next morning, Maya made him breakfast, the kind of meal she knew he loved. Plantain, eggs, and spiced coffee. You're spoiling me, he said, smiling. I'm just keeping my husband happy, she replied, kissing his forehead. But as she leaned over him, her eyes flicked toward the small gold recorder hidden inside the fruit bowl. Every word was being saved. Chica was the only one who knew. They met secretly at the old studio downtown, far from the glossy life Maya had built. Chica couldn't believe it at first. So, you're telling me he's married? To another woman? And she's part of it? Yes, Maya said quietly. And they think I don't know. Chica paced. Girl, call the police. Maya shook her head. No. If I move too soon, they'll twist it. I want them to think they've won. Let them dig their grave with confidence. Her friend sighed, rubbing her temples. You're crazy. Maybe, Maya said, a faint smile touching her lips. But I'm done being the fool. That night, Maya and Dante hosted a dinner. Champagne, soft jazz, laughter echoing through the house. Dante played the perfect husband, touching her hand, whispering sweet lies. Halfway through dessert, he said, You know, I've been thinking we should travel. Maybe Seychelles. Just us. No work, no noise. Maya tilted her head, eyes gleaming. Our honeymoon wasn't enough? He chuckled. You can never have too much paradise. She smiled, pretending to melt. All right, my love. Just tell me when. Inside, she already knew that was the trip they planned to rob her blind. 2 days before the supposed getaway, Maya met with her lawyer in secret. I want to move everything in the vault, she said. Cash, documents, jewelry. Replace it all with duplicates. The man frowned. Are you sure, Mrs. Lewis? Yes. And I need it done tonight. She left the office with calm grace, but her heart was racing. Every step felt like walking through fire, but this time, she was the one holding the match. The next morning, Dante noticed her mood. You okay? He asked, slipping behind her at the mirror. She nodded, applying lipstick. Just tired. He smiled at her reflection. You've been good to me, Maya. I don't take it for granted. Her hand paused midair. For a second, she almost believed him. Almost. But then she remembered the phone call. The laughter. The way he'd touched her hand while lying through his teeth. She turned, facing him fully. "You love me, right?" "Of course," he said without hesitation. "Then promise me something. Anything." She smiled faintly. "That you'll never betray me." He kissed her hand. "Never." And she recorded that too. That evening, Zara arrived at the mansion under the guise of Dante's cousin. She was beautiful in a cold way, eyes like cut glass, smile too still. "Maya," she said sweetly. "Finally, we meet. Dante talks about you all the time." Maya smiled right back. "Good things, I hope." "Oh, the best." They hugged, two women playing different games under the same roof. By nightfall, Zara was in the guest room, Dante was pacing the hallway, and Maya was in her study, sealing her plan. Every document, every fake jewel, every hidden camera was perfectly placed. On the night before the flight, Dante poured her a glass of wine. "To us," he said. "To forever." Their glasses clinked. His hand lingered on hers. "You've made me believe in love again," he said softly. Maya smiled, her voice steady. "That's all I ever wanted." They drank. But he didn't know she had switched the glasses. His contained a mild sedative, just enough to make him groggy. Later that night, when he stumbled out of bed and whispered into his phone, she stood in the shadows, listening. "The vault's clear," he murmured. "Tomorrow we take it and disappear." Then he passed out on the couch. In the quiet of dawn, Maya sat beside him, watching the man who had nearly destroyed her heart. His face was peaceful in sleep, almost innocent, but she knew better now. She touched his cheek gently. "You could have had it all, Dante. You could have had me." Then she stood, straightened her robe, and whispered to herself, "Tomorrow, you'll have nothing." The sun rose slowly over Cape Town, bathing the city in gold. To the world, Maya Okoro was still the radiant bride. But inside her chest burned the quiet fire of a woman rewriting her ending. The scam was set. The trap was ready. And the bride was no longer the prey. They said morning came like a thief, stealing peace before it even arrived. Maya woke up to the sound of waves brushing against the villa walls. The air smelled like sea salt and endings. Dante was still asleep, his arm hanging lazily over the couch, the phone that betrayed him resting just inches from his hand. She didn't touch it. She didn't need to. Everything she needed was already backed up: voice notes, phone records, and a full copy of his little secret conversations. Her lawyer had them all. But today wasn't for confrontation. It was for closure. By noon, Dante stirred awake, groggy and confused. "Babe," he mumbled, rubbing his temples. "What time is it?" "Almost 12, she said, sipping tea by the window. "You must have been tired." "Yeah," he chuckled nervously. "Guess I drank too much wine." "Guess so." Her tone was light, almost teasing, but her eyes didn't smile. He stumbled toward her, wrapping his arms around her waist. "I dreamed about us," he whispered. "About forever." She forced a soft laugh. "Forever sounds beautiful." And in that moment, she wasn't lying, because forever was exactly how long he was going to remember this day. The flight to Seychelles was scheduled for the evening, but Maya insisted they stop by her private vault one last time before the honeymoon extension. Dante agreed instantly, not realizing that he was walking straight into his own undoing. As they drove through the quiet streets of Cape Town, Zara followed in a rented car, dark glasses hiding her thrill. She could almost taste the money. "We're finally doing it," she murmured into her Bluetooth earpiece. Dante's voice came back, smug and low. "By tonight we'll be ghosts." Maya sat right beside him, pretending not to hear. At the bank, she entered the code with steady fingers. The heavy door swung open with a soft hiss, revealing glittering jewelry, thick envelopes, and gold bars, all perfectly arranged. "Damn," Dante breathed, his eyes wide. "You really trust me with all this?" Maya smiled faintly. A wife should trust her husband. He stepped closer, his reflection dancing against the steel walls. "You have no idea what this means to me." "Oh," she said, turning slightly, "I do." She handed him a small chest. "Here, can you carry this to the car? It's important." He nodded, eager to please, eager to steal. When he left the vault, she exhaled slowly. The moment the door sealed shut behind him, she turned to the hidden camera and whispered, "Showtime." Outside, Zara waited in the car, engine running. "Is it done?" she asked when Dante approached. He smirked, lifting the chest. "Almost. She's wrapping up." Zara reached for it greedily. "Open it. Let's see the queen's treasure." Dante hesitated, then snapped the lock. Inside were stacks of fake bills, glass diamonds, and a single envelope. Zara frowned. "What the hell?" He opened it. Inside was a note written in Maya's perfect handwriting. "For richer, for poorer, you chose poorer. Love, Mrs. Lewis." The blood drained from his face. "What?" Before he could react, security guards appeared at both ends of the parking lot. Maya stepped out of the vault, calm as sunrise, wearing sunglasses and a small smile. "Leaving so soon?" she said. Dante's jaw clenched. "Maya, this isn't what you think." "Oh, it's exactly what I think," she cut in. "You see, I may have given you my vault code, but I never gave you my mind." Zara glared. "You don't know who you're dealing with." "Oh, I do," Maya replied softly. "You're the woman who taught my husband how to lie. I'm the woman teaching you both how consequences feel." Dante tried to step forward, but the guards held him back. "You can't do this, Maya. We're married." She tilted her head. "Correction, we were. I filed for annulment this morning, along with fraud charges." His face fell. "You recorded me." "Every word," she said, "including the part where you called me completely gone for you. That one's my favorite." Zara spat. "You'll regret this." Maya smiled faintly. "Maybe. But tonight you'll regret more." She turned away as they were escorted out, her heels clicking like thunder. Every step echoed years of humiliation, heartbreak, and rebirth. Outside, reporters were already swarming. News traveled fast in Maya's world, and betrayal even faster. Cameras flashed as she stepped into her car, head high. "Maya, is it true your husband tried to scam you?" "Maya, any comment on the arrest?" She paused, lips curving into the kind of smile made for front pages. "Let's just say," she said, slipping on her sunglasses, "karma always wears heels." Then she drove off, leaving behind the ashes of the love that almost ruined her. But even as the city buzzed with gossip, Maya knew the story wasn't over. Because revenge, once started, had a way of writing sequels. 2 weeks after Dante and Zara's arrest, Maya Okoro was trending again, but this time, not for her heartbreak. Headlines called her the woman who outsmarted a conman. Talk shows debated her grace under fire. Brands lined up to collaborate. And Maya? She smiled through every interview, every flash of the camera. Not because she'd healed, but because power looked better than pain on her. "I'm not a victim," she told one journalist on live TV. "I'm a reminder that you can't scam a woman who's already built herself from nothing." The audience clapped. But what they didn't know was that behind that calm poise, she was still burning, not for Dante anymore, but for Zara. Zara had escaped. The police caught Dante, yes, but his wife had vanished before they reached her. She'd taken one of Maya's fake passports from the vault decoys, boarded a boat from Hout Bay, and disappeared into thin air. Maya found out 2 days later, reading the police report at her lawyer's office. "Gone?" she repeated slowly. "Yes, ma'am," the lawyer said. "Interpol is involved. But she's good. Whoever this woman is, she's done this before." Maya's lips curved slightly. Then it's time she met someone better. That night, Maya stood in front of her mirror, staring at her reflection, the sleek ponytail, the diamond earrings, the woman who once believed love was her soft spot. "Never again," she whispered. Her phone buzzed. It was Chica. "Girl, you on the news again. CNN this time." Maya laughed softly. "Guess I'm finally famous for the right reason." Chica hesitated. "You still not sleeping though, are you?" Silence. Then Maya said, "Not until she's found." The next morning, Maya visited the cybercrime unit downtown. The detectives greeted her with polite smiles, but she wasn't here to play celebrity. "I have information," she said, placing a flash drive on the table. Every file, text, and voice note Dante ever sent to Zara, including location data. You can track her from there. The lead detective raised a brow. That's extremely detailed, Mrs. Okoro. Maya smiled faintly. Let's just say I'm good at backups. After hours of review, they found it, an IP address pinged near Mombasa. Zara was alive, living under a new alias, running a fake NGO for women entrepreneurs. The irony stung. Maya stared at the map, her voice low. She's still playing with women's pain. The detective nodded. We'll contact Kenyan authorities. She won't get far. But Maya wasn't waiting for paperwork. She had her own plan, quiet, calculated, and personal. Days later, she arrived in Mombasa under a different name, Nia Kalu, an investor from Lagos. Her hair was shorter, her accent softer. She wore plain clothes, no designer tags, no trace of Maya Lux. She found Zara easily. The woman was exactly as she remembered, polished, charming, and dangerous. She was running a business brunch for young women at a beachside cafe, preaching about empowerment while pocketing their registration fees. Maya approached the table with a polite smile. "Excuse me, I heard you help women start small businesses?" Zara smiled back, not recognizing her. "Yes, darling. That's exactly what we do." Their eyes met, predator to predator. "Perfect," Maya said sweetly, "because I have an offer you might like." Over the next week, Maya played the part flawlessly. She donated money, attended Zara's events, even posed for photos beside her. Every night, she updated a private folder, full of recordings, fake receipts, and hidden footage. But on the seventh day, she struck. Zara was hosting a charity gala for investors, all fake, all cash-based. Maya walked in wearing red, the kind of red that warned storms were near. Cameras flashed, people whispered, but she didn't care. Halfway through Zara's speech, Maya raised her glass and said loudly, "Tell them the truth, Zara. About the fake businesses. The scams. The husband you sent to rob me." The room froze. Zara blinked, her smile faltering. I don't know what you're talking about." "Oh, you do," Maya said, stepping forward. "Because I'm the woman you tried to destroy." Gasps rippled through the crowd as Maya pulled out her phone and connected it to the projector. Instantly, Zara's own voice echoed through the speakers. "Keep it that way. The richer they are, the more they crave struggle, makes them feel human." The crowd erupted. Investors shouted. Cameras rolled. Zara's face drained of color. How? Records, darling," Maya said. "I learned from the best." Within hours, Zara was arrested, this time, with no place to hide. Later that night, Maya stood by the water, barefoot, the ocean cool against her feet. Chica's voice crackled over the phone. "You did it. Again." Maya smiled faintly. "It's not revenge anymore. It's justice." "Same difference," Chica said, laughing. "So what now, boss lady?" Maya watched the waves crash, her reflection dancing on the surface. "Well, I start over. For real this time. Because sometimes, the end of love isn't tragedy, it's transformation." And Maya Okoro wasn't just a survivor anymore. She was a legend in red heels, the kind no one dared play again. They said legends aren't born, they're forged in fire. And Maya Okoro had walked through hers barefoot. 3 months after Zara's arrest, Cape Town was buzzing again. But this time, the whispers around Maya weren't about scandal, they were about rebirth. "The bride who lived," one magazine called her. Another headline read, "From victim to visionary, Maya Lux returns stronger than ever." But Maya didn't care for headlines anymore. She'd seen how fast they turned from worship to mockery. What mattered now was legacy, and she was building it one woman at a time. Maya Lux reopened with a new campaign. No glitter, no celebrity endorsements, just stories. Real women. Survivors. Entrepreneurs. Each ad carried the same tagline, "You can't steal from a woman who knows her worth." The launch party was small but fierce, journalists, designers, and old friends. Chica handled the guest list, sipping champagne like she owned the place. "You know, she said, leaning close to Maya. If revenge was an Olympic sport, you'd have 3 gold medals by now. Maya laughed softly. Revenge is temporary. Purpose lasts longer. Still, Chica grinned, it looked good on you. But even peace has echoes. One evening, as Maya locked up her studio, she noticed a small envelope on her desk. No name, no address. Inside was a note written in neat cursive. Congratulations, Maya. You won. But remember, some debts don't die. No signature. But the scent on the paper, jasmine and smoke, was familiar. Zara's perfume. Maya stared at it for a long moment, her pulse steady. Zara was supposed to be in prison, awaiting trial. But power had strange ways of slipping through cracks. She picked up her phone, called Chica. We need to talk. The next morning, the news broke. Zara Lewis found dead in her cell, apparent suicide. Maya's coffee cup froze midair. The reporter's voice droned on, describing it as a tragic end to a brilliant but broken woman. Chica called seconds later. Did you see? Yes. You think it's real? Maya exhaled slowly. Maybe. Or maybe it's another performance. Because deep down, Maya knew Zara never played fair. Weeks passed. The media frenzy faded. The city moved on. But Maya couldn't. She found herself visiting her private studio at night, the same one she'd used to plan her revenge. On the wall hung a photo of her wedding day, now framed in black. Beneath it, a single glass of untouched wine. Closure, she whispered to herself. That's all I need. Then, as if fate had been waiting for those words, her assistant walked in holding a package. This just came in, ma'am. From an anonymous sender. Inside was a small velvet box. Maya opened it and froze. A baby bracelet, filled, tiny, etched with the initials MD. Her knees almost gave out. She knew those initials. Maya undaunted. Then she saw the letter beneath it. You thought the baby was gone. It wasn't. I saved it. You're welcome. Some games never really end. Z. Maya's hand trembled. She read the words again and again, her heart pounding louder each time. The baby she thought she lost survived? For a long minute she didn't move. Then she stood, tears slipping silently down her face, not of weakness, but of something too deep for words. A week later, Maya flew to a private clinic in Durban, following a lead buried in the letter's postmark. She arrived unannounced, her sunglasses hiding everything but the determination in her stride. At the reception she whispered, I'm looking for someone. A child, registered 2 years ago under the name Daniel Lewis. The nurse hesitated, then nodded slowly. Yes, he's here. Healthy boy. Quiet. Maya's breath caught. Can I see him? The woman smiled softly. He's waiting in the garden. And there, beneath a jacaranda tree, sunlight spilling over his curls, was a little boy playing with toy cars. His laugh was soft, familiar. When he looked up, his eyes, dark and calm, mirrored Dante's, but the warmth in them was hers. Maya knelt down slowly. Hey there, she whispered. I'm Maya. He smiled shyly. Auntie Maya? Her voice broke. Something like that. That night, she watched him sleep, her fingers brushing his small hand. The world outside had stolen much from her, but here, in this tiny heartbeat, was everything she'd lost and more. Chica called, whispering through tears when she heard the news. Girl, you found him? Yes. So what now? Maya smiled, watching the moonlight spill across the child's face. Now I stop fighting ghosts. And I start raising a legacy. Months later, Maya Lux Foundation launched, a haven for women deceived, broken, or rebuilding. Its logo? A golden phoenix, rising from ash. Reporters called her the woman who turned pain into empire. But when asked about the past, she only said, forgiveness isn't forgetting. It's choosing to win anyway. And in her private studio, behind a curtain, hung 2 wedding rings, Dante's and hers, pressed in glass, a reminder of the price of trust. Maya Okoro had been the victim, the avenger, and now, the legend. And as she walked through her studio one evening, heels clicking, a soft voice called behind her, Mama. She turned. The little boy ran into her arms. She lifted him high, laughter breaking through years of silence. Some stories end in heartbreak. Hers began there, and rose higher. Because the bride's last game wasn't revenge. It was rebirth. Thank you for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and turn on your notification for our next story. See you soon. Bye.